Hey everybody, how's it going today? Today we're going to be talking about Islam. All right, so let's get some background. Islam was founded by Muhammad, who is believed by Muslims to be the last prophet. Um, he was born into a merchant family within Mecca. He was he was orphaned at the age of 5. He ended up becoming a caravan manager, so well off, and ended up marrying a rich widow. Right? He was about 40 years old when he began receiving revelations from the angel Gabriel that formed the basis of the Quran or the beliefs of Muslims. He believed that Allah or God, the Arabic word for God, had revealed himself to him. He began preaching a monotheistic message to people throughout Mecca. At the time, people within Mecca are polytheistic, right? So they are against what he's preaching and teaching. He begins to face persecution, him and his followers living within Mecca. And so they have to leave. They end up going to Yathrib. Yathrib is later renamed Medina, city of the prophet, and that marks the Hijra, right? And then Islam is going to begin to spread throughout Medina, and then they're going to go back into Mecca, conquer it, and put in Islam. And then Islam is going to spread in the lifetime of Muhammad all throughout Arabia, not just as a religion, but a political unit as well. All right, so the revelations of Muhammad form the basis of the Islamic faith. It is monotheistic. They believe in one God, the God of Abraham. Muhammad and his followers spread Islam, and the Islamic customs and traditions are going to create a distinctive Muslim culture. All right, this shows you the spread and expansion of Islam. You see, it goes all throughout Arabia, it goes through Central Asia, Northern Africa, and even into Spain. All right, so after the death of Muhammad, so this under the Prophet Muhammad, under Muhammad's lifetime, this is what they gained. And you can see for the 3 centuries after his death, it expands rapidly. It even gets into Europe or Northern Africa. And this political unity in Arabic language is going to facilitate trade and stimulate intellectual activity. All right, so of course, Islam is going to spread along trade routes. Islam is also going to spread due to conquest, due to taking over. It's going to spread despite great distances, mountainous environments, and desertous environments or mountainous barriers, excuse me. It's going to go into the Fertile Crescent, so Iraq. It's going to go into Iran. And into Central Asia. And it's going to be facilitated by the weakening of the Byzantine and the Persian empires. Political unity of the Islamic Empire in and of itself, the political unit was short lived because there was a difference of opinion concerning who's going to lead not only their religious community, but their political communities as well. Arabic language, of course, is going to spread. Muslims learn Arabic in order to practice out their faith. And in Islamic communities, or in the Islamic Empire rather, slavery was not based on race. Remember, we see that with the Greeks and Romans as well. So what do they believe? They believe in one God. Arabic is the term for God. All right. The Quran is the word of God as revealed to Muhammad from the angel Gabriel. They practice the 5 pillars as to carry out their faith. What does that mean? Faith, prayer, charity, fasting, and pilgrimage. Well, they give a declaration of faith. They state that there's only one God and that Muhammad is his messenger, his last messenger. They pray 5 times a day facing Mecca towards the Kaaba, which is the temple of God on earth. Um, they give to the poor, the needy. That's called the zakat or the alms. They fast during the month of Ramadan, which is a holy month, the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, where they fast from sunrise to sunset, and it's a time of reflection and repentance for Muslims. And they make a pilgrimage or the Hajj to Mecca to visit the Kaaba. This Hajj journey is about a 2-week period. This past year, due to COVID, there was a significant reduction in the number of people allowed to be there. And it was about 1,000 as opposed to the nearly 2 million that make the pilgrimage there on a normal basis. Um, but they Muslims also accept earlier prophets such as Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. All right. They do not believe that Jesus is divine or God on earth, but was simply a prophet. So that's your major difference. Okay. Um, Now, the holy cities. You've got the Kaaba, you've got in Mecca, which is where they pray towards God's temple on earth, who they believe was constructed by Abraham and Ishmael. Remember, when we talked about Judaism, we talked about Abraham. Remember, Abraham is the father of monotheism. He's the founder of the Jewish nation, and the or Jewish monotheism, that which grows into Christianity through Jesus, right? Because he is considered the Messiah for Christians that fulfilled the Old Testament prophecies. And then we have an extension of that, Abraham through Ishmael. Remember, God made a promise or a covenant to Abraham. He tells them that he is going to make him a nation and that all nations will be blessed through him. So, with that being said, Abraham and Sarah were very old. Okay. Sarah, his wife, does not believe that she is going to have a child. So she says, here is my servant, have a child with her because I want the promise of God to be fulfilled. So that was them trying to get the promise their own way, right? So Abraham has relations with Hagar. Hagar becomes pregnant. She mothers a son for Abraham, and that is Ishmael. All right. Sarah, ashamed and kind of outcast of the tribe after this happens. Hagar is treating her badly, goes to Abraham and says, what have I done? Like, I'm a laughing stock. Um, what are we going to do? This isn't working. And so Abraham says, well, here, have your servant back. Fine. And then Sarah begins to mistreat Hagar. Hagar and Ishmael go off, and then they end up coming back. But then they separate. Hagar and Ishmael separate from Abraham. Okay. And so it is believed by Muslims that this temple was dedicated to the Lord and built by Abraham and Ishmael. So that's why the Kaaba is sacred and it's considered God's temple on earth. Your second holiest city is Medina. Okay, remember that's the city that Muhammad fled to, facing persecution. It's also the city where he's buried. And then in Jerusalem, you have the Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock is important. It's because that's where Muslims believe Muhammad took his night's journey into the seven realms of heaven, into the uppermost bounty, where he got to meet and talk with the major prophets. And the closer he got to the uppermost bounty, the closer he got to Abraham and God. And Abraham was the closest to God in those realms because he's the father of pure monotheism. So after the death of Muhammad, there's going to be a difference of opinion concerning who should lead the Muslim community as a political unit, as a religious unit. After his death, Abu Bakr, his father-in-law, becomes the caliph or successor of Muhammad. And then that's where people began to divide. After Muhammad's son-in-law Ali, after his death, there is a permanent split in the religion. There are those that believe that any good Muslim or Muslim scholar can lead the Muslim communities. And then there is another group that believe, no, only descendants of Muhammad through his son-in-law Ali and daughter Fatima could lead the communities. All right, so that's where your differences in Islam today come. There are more Sunni in the world today than there are Shia Muslims. All right, Sunni, again, any. Shia or Shiite, only descendants. All right, make sure you understand that difference. And you can see right here on the map, concentrated in blue, are Shia Muslims. You can see there is a vast majority, 85% actually, that are Sunni. Okay. So, major historical turning points that mark the spread of Islam include their conquering of Jerusalem and Damascus. Remember, these are Christian controlled cities at the time. That's going to become important when we talk about the late Middle Ages and the Crusades. So, the Muslim armies sieged Damascus in 634, which was a Byzantine city, Orthodox Christianity, remember? And then in 638, they go and they conquer Jerusalem. Remember, Christians and Jews alike take pilgrimages and visit this holy land, this sacred land that they revere as holy. Another historical turning point is going to be the movement of the Islamic capital from Damascus to Baghdad by the Abbasid dynasty. Um, take a look here. All right, so Damascus is here, Baghdad is here. All right, so you move it to the center or the heart of the Islamic Empire. It's going to be the crossroads of caravan routes. It's going to be located right along the Tigris River, can easily get to the Persian Gulf, Arabian Sea, right? It's going to be centrally located. Now, a historical turning point that marks the end of Muslim expansion is the Battle of Tours. All right, Frankish general, remember, Christendom. That means this area is significantly Christian. Okay, they are terrified of Muslim takeover. All right, Germanic tribe over here, the Frankish kingdom. I can't pronounce their Carolingian Empire, Carolingian. I suck at that. Sorry. This empire over here, which was converted to Christianity. Charles Martel, he is going to stop the Muslim expansion into Western Europe. So not only does he stop, right, the Islamic Empire from moving in, he also stops the Islamic religion from moving in as well. So this is the Muslim Empire at its extent. This right here, towards right around in here, is where they were stopped. Okay. Cultural contributions. What do we get from the Islamic Empire? Well, we get the architectural wonder of the Dome of the Rock, mosaics, which are found in the Byzantine Empire, also found along the outside of the Dome of the Rock and within. All right, you have a dome. I wonder who they were influenced by. You have the Arabic alphabet, which spread, all right, along with the empire. You have the rise of universities, these places of higher level knowledge and thinking, and the translation of ancient Greek and Roman texts into Arabic, which we can attribute to the preservation of knowledge, all right, and why we have some of these texts today. You also have the creation of Arabic numerals, which were adapted from India to include zero, which are going to become very important when we talk about the Renaissance and the credit and banking movement. You have algebra developed by Al-Khwarizmi. You have the expansion of medical knowledge and the expansion of geographic knowledge. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's lesson and have a great day. Bye, guys.